Hey, this is Richard Bogan with Banjo Boogie Music Lessons, and this is your first drum lesson. We're going to go over a basic beat, a basic rock beat, and how to break it down. When you break down a drum beat, there are two paths you can go by. So we will talk about each of those, how to break down the drum beat. We're going to skip over a lot of stuff that we normally would talk about, how to hold the sticks, technique, yada yada, and just get right into it. The beat you're going to learn today goes like this. So if that's something you already do, or that's too easy, then maybe this lesson isn't for you unless you want to hear about how to break down a drum beat. So we've got three things going on. You've got your kick drum with your right foot, your snare drum, which is with your left hand, and your right hand crosses over to play the hi-hat. My foot is on the hi-hat to keep it closed. I play on the top to get a nice sound. Now that is playing eighth notes, which we count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's slow it down a bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? Snare drum's on 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bass drum's on 1 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the first way we can break down a drum beat is, rather than playing all three of those at once and trying to make your brain and your body work it all, is we're just going to do two at once. So the bass drum and snare drum go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to be able to do this, right? Before you add everything, you got to be able to keep a nice beat back and forth, bass and snare. Okay? Hi-hat and snare. Let's do those two. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Sometimes I'll tell my students, right, both, right, both, right. Or you count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Make sure that your right hand and left hand are hitting together. Okay? Cool. So if we do bass drum and hi-hat, right? Got to add that snare drum to get all three. So maybe you've tried that and it's still not coming together where all three things can happen. This is where we block it off. We're going to block off each beat. So in beat 1, let's think about what's happening. You've got your hi-hat and your bass drum together, and then you've got one hi-hat by itself. So that looks like this. And when we block it off, we just play it once and then leave a space. That space is important. Kind of leaves a little breath for your brain to process what's happening. And again, make sure you can hit your bass drum and your hi-hat together without it sounding like a little off. Or you want it right on it together. And then a hi-hat with the space. Now you look at beat 2. That is hi-hat and snare drum together, and then one hi-hat. So now you've got beat 1. And you got beat 2. So now we're going to do beat 1, space, beat 2, space, space, space. One beat at a time. Little space. Now if we blend it, no space. Now I'm playing that beat. That's our beat. Always stop before you speed up. Okay, I got that down. I'm going to stop, and now I'm going to go a little faster. Maybe like about there. Might be want to play these with a metronome. Maybe a little faster now. Right? And I always stop. When I'm ready to go faster, I don't just speed up. I stop. So now once you're playing that drum beat, everything is a variation of that. Maybe your right hand changes. Maybe it's a shuffle. Maybe you've got a lot of extra bass drums. Maybe you've got some extra snare drums. Right? Maybe you've got different hi-hat stuff. All kinds of variations, but it's all based on this. Right? And anytime it gets complex, just break it down. One beat, next beat, spaces in between, or just say, you know what, I want to make sure I can do that without the bass drum and just do my hands, or just do hi-hat and kick drum. Okay, if you're ready for the next lesson, then join me on Patreon, Banjo Boogie, and if you join, you can request another lesson. I'll put another video lesson up for the Patreon users, and you can request a song, you can request a technique, and I will put something up, or just request, hey, next drum beat, man, and we'll do it. All right, thanks.